If you are under the impression that you, having met Sight and bruggencate 6 times already, know him, I will have to disappoint you. What you know is Sight and bruggencate's outer shell. To know the real Sai, you have to enter, i.e. get into his brain. And this is where I come in. I'm not sure if I've told you this before, but every great discovery or invention emanates from something that, on the face of it, has nothing to do with it. In this case, I was watching, as I always do, Sight and bruggencate destroying an unsuspecting atheist in a YouTube debate. As usual, I rooted for the underdog, as Sight told him that he, the victim, knew God existed, and moreover that he, the victim, loved him being God, that is. I felt for the victim, who realized that the love he felt for his family would have to be transferred to God, and if they, the family, want his love, he would have to give it to them only on alternate weekends. I thought I should say something, but Sai was already destroying his victim's sense of reality with the "how do you know" move. I wanted to warn the victim that Sai was wrong and the laws of reality aren't likely to change any minute. But it was too late. The victim agreed that the laws of nature, as well as the highway code, would probably change before the debate was over, and he might as well drive on the wrong side of the road. There was a pause and I was about to barge in, but then Sight and bruggencate produced a jam jar with a brain in it. The victim was clearly shaken when he realized what was coming, but that didn't stop Sai. "You see this brain," he said. "It belongs to Albert Einstein. Now how do you know that this brain isn't yours? How do you know that when you make love to your admittedly loving wife, you're not doing a form of brain pornography? How do you know that when you leave this studio in a state of rage and frustration and kill the first innocent victim you see, it's not your brain playing video games with you?" I could clearly see the brain in the jar trying to say something, but Sai is good at ignoring brain activity. He took the jar and was about to hand it to his opponent. "Here," he said. "See if you can read what this genius is trying to say." Now there were 3 frustrated beings who couldn't take it anymore. 1, Sai's opponent, who was at a loss for words. 2, Einstein brain, who was being misunderstood again. And 3, me. I jumped out of my chair and put my face an inch from Sai's. I could feel his breath through the laptop screen. I looked him in the eye and shouted at the top of my lungs, "How about some Christian humility?" You would think that Sight and bruggencate will have at least an ounce of empathy. You would think that when someone speaks to him from an inch away, he would stop and perhaps glance at someone. But no, he simply ignored me. Instead, he tipped the jar to the floor and smiled as the brain, amazingly, obeyed the law of gravity and smeared itself on the floor. "Consider your arguments smeared on the floor," said Sai to his opponent. "That's what I think of the human brain." I couldn't watch it anymore. I missed the next part of the debate, in which Sai took his opponent's brain and put it in a jar, thus recycling it. I learned 2 things from this experience. 1, if you put a brain in a jar, it can no longer talk to the outside world, although the world outside can see it in great details. From the outside, you can tell what the brain thinks, and the brain can do nothing about it. 2, glass in general is a semiconductor. For example, if you're on one side of a laptop screen, you can talk to the people on the other side. Whereas if you are on the other side, no matter how loud you shout or how much logic you apply, nobody listens.